Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com. Today we're going to take a look at how to make a do-it-yourself Thanksgiving cutting board with reusable wood burning stencils from Ikonart. Now these stencils are pretty cool. It's a multi-step process, probably 5 or 6 steps. You print out the artwork on a clear film that's specifically designed for either an inkjet printer or a laser printer. Then you transfer that onto the actual stencil film. And you do that by laying that artwork, which was printed on that clear film, directly on top of the stencil film, and then you cover it with another clear sheet. I'm doing 2 stencils here. The artwork for this project, I was able to actually download the inside text artwork from Etsy. I bought an SVG file for under $3, and I placed that inside a turkey outline that I had. So the whole thing was very, very easy to do. Anyway, you cover that with a clear stencil. You put it under a UV light, which is included with the Ikonart kit. Depending on whether you use the laser printer or an inkjet printer, it's about 30 seconds. I guess the range would be 25 to 35 seconds, depending on which printer and also depending on how thick the lines are on the art that you're using. Once you remove the stencil from underneath the light, you don't really see anything until you immerse it in warm water, and you do this for about 2 minutes to kind of soften everything up. And you can see that the artwork is starting to appear, or the design is starting to appear. The next step, probably the most important step, is you clip it onto this plastic clipboard that's also included in the kit, and you use a spray nozzle. You have to hold that clipboard on an angle, and you have to spray kind of forcefully for 2 or 3 minutes. You want to get out all of the material, all of the lines, so that they are clear, so that they're transparent, and they would let the ink or the wood burning gel through. It's critical that you look at all of the fine lines and make sure that none of them have any restrictions. If they do, continue to wash it out. Spend the time now. It just makes the whole stenciling much easier. After that, I'm just going to kind of blot it dry with a paper towel, and I'm going to set that aside for at least 45 minutes to let it dry completely. Then as a final step in preparing the stencil, you're going to put it back under the UV light for a total of about 2 minutes. And that just apparently makes the stencil more durable because you're going to reuse this multiple times. If you're considering this Ikonart kit, it does come with very clear instructions. All right, so the next step is to peel the backing off of the stencil material, and then you can place that stencil on the wood that you're going to use. Now, I bought these cutting boards down at Home Good. The only thing I did to them was I sanded them off with a 220 grit paper just to make sure there wasn't any oil or any protective coating on them that would interfere with the wood burning. Once the stencil is in place, I coat the borders with painter's tape, and really not to hold the stencil down, but to just give me a little bit more room for error. This way I don't get any of that torch paste onto the board that would ruin the board. These stencils can be used for silk screening, t-shirts, for doing wood burning, glass etching, all sorts of different things. I'm using a product called torch paste, and I'll put links to both the Ikonart stencil kit and also the torch paste right in the description of this video. And with a small squeegee also provided in the kit, I'm just going to squeegee that torch paste right through the stencil and onto the cutting board. Now I have to apologize in advance. I'm actually going to flip from this particular cutting board to another one in a couple of minutes. I had a mechanical error with the camera, most likely a user error, where it stopped filming through this particular cutting board. But I actually ended up doing 2 or 3 of these boards at the same time. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. After the torch paste has been squeegeed through. You can peel off that stencil. Depending on whether the wood is dark or light, you may be able to see a little of that torch paste. Let it dry for a couple of minutes, and then with a heat gun, and this is just a cheap heat gun that I got down at Harbor Freight. I think it was about 20 bucks. The more heat you use, the darker the burn will be. But you have to keep that heat gun moving. You don't really want to burn the wood. So now I'm gonna, the camera stopped working, or I didn't hit the record button. I'm gonna switch to another cutting board. This one is a round cutting board. I think this one ended up looking nicer anyway. So this is about where we left off. I've already done the stenciling, and I'm just starting to use the heat gun to bring out the design. Within a few minutes, that torch paste really works nicely. All of the areas that were screened with the torch paste darken up. Now the final step in this little project is to coat it with a cutting board oil. And this just protects the board. I actually did this on the back of the board so that I could use this as a decoration, and then also use it as a cutting board on the other side without cutting into the design or ruining it in the future. This is the finished product. Look at the detail of this wood burning. I'm still kind of amazed with this little stencil kit. I am by no means an artist, and I was able to create this really just in one night after work. I banged out 3 of them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I ask that you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. By all means, check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. I've got a whole bunch of do-it-yourself projects on there that you might be interested in. Thank you very much for watching.